Well, really, when I was an undergraduate at the University of Georgia, I was a philosophy student. And some graduates of Westminster I got to know during that time, and they started putting Van Til in my hands, and that was really instrumental for me in understanding the other things that we're studying, especially as a Christian. And then from there began to read John Murray and Voss and others. And so even before I finished my undergraduate, it was a foregone conclusion in my mind, as together with that, sensing a call to ministry, that I wanted to come to Westminster. After graduating from the University of Georgia, I ended up doing youth ministry for 3 years at Clemson Presbyterian Church, where Tim Lane was the pastor. And that helped to continue my pursuit in that direction, and learning ministry is something that I wanted to do before going to seminary, to broaden just to confirm my sense of call to ministry. And it was also very helpful to begin to formulate questions that my theology would fit into once I arrived here. So even as an undergraduate, and then even more spending time in ministry, led me more and more to look forward to my time at Westminster. I think all of my time at Westminster, there's not just one event or one conversation or class. I think it was the whole of my experience here, both in the friendships that I had with students, many of which that have continued to this day, as well as the education as a whole, and how I felt it fit together and informed the way I thought about ministry. I enjoyed everything from Hebrew to apologetics, and I felt that the whole of it really equipped me. I think some things that stand out in my mind as I think about the curriculum while I was here, of course, is Dr. Gaffin's class, his Acts and Paul class, and his approach to biblical and systematic theology that was very clearly exegetical, and then just himself as being one who was pastoral and loved the church and did his work with a love for the church. And I think that was very encouraging to see. Dr. Ferguson as well, I had him for more classes than I think I had any other professor, and that was very formative, especially his course on the Holy Spirit, which I think is Doctrine of Salvation 2 now. But again, very thoughtful, very rich, but also very pastoral in the way that he approached that. I do remember one of the classes I had with Dr. Ferguson. It was a PhD level class that I just sat in on as a M.Div student, which was another great thing, is to have that level of education where you realize as an M.Div student there's much more for you to learn. You're not getting everything. And so sitting in a class like that and seeing PhD students doing work at that level was encouraging to see. And I remember as students were giving papers, Dr. Ferguson sitting in the back and off the top of his head interacting very deeply and knowledgeably with patristics and this conversation that I was not even aware of. And he was just sitting back in a very casual way, interacting with this material. I remember leaning over to a friend who was in the class with me saying, "I'm an idiot." Just thinking of, there's a whole nother level of thought that we're just beginning to delve into and to understand. And so that was good. It was a humbling experience to realize that what we're learning is important, equipping me for ministry, but there's so much more out there to know and to learn as well. Yeah, some of my best friends come from my time at Westminster. A couple in particular, John Larson, who actually was an undergrad with at the University of Georgia. We were both up here together. Kyle Oliphant, others that I served in campus ministry together with in RUF, Pat Roach and Jason Little, David Green, and some others. So it's been great to come out of Westminster, but then to serve alongside of these men in ministry, and to keep contact with each other continues to be encouraging.